Previously on Read with Ronald.
I'm glad he made us read this because I'm glad I bought the second book because I'm reading the second book. I don't know when or where or how I'm getting to that second book. But yeah, Terry did her thing. She did her thing. She said, y'all are gonna read the second book. Every movie I drop, y'all are gonna watch it. I'm gonna give y'all the blueprint. And then I'm gonna watch y'all fail at trying to recreate it. I'm gonna give you the blueprint and I'm gonna watch you fail at trying to recreate it because you're not doing it your way. You gotta do stuff your way.
To thank Anna for lending me her digital copies. I bought you your own copy of Waiting to Exhale.
Oh my god!
And Getting the Happy.
Bruh, I literally, okay, so this is the sequel. I don't know if he's gonna cover this or not. I literally just got done reading this on my iPad, and I told him that. So this is a surprise to me. Thank you so much. These will be going in my collection, and he knows what I'm talking about. This is good. I like this.
So now we're gonna get into the movie. The movie was written by Terry McMillan and Ronald Bass and was directed by Forrest Whitaker. It starred Whitney Houston, Angela Bassett, Loretta Devine, and Leela Rashawn. Whitney Houston and Angela Bassett were offered their roles, while Loretta Devine and Leela Rashawn were chosen after a series of auditions to balance out the star power of the main four ladies. Waiting to Exhale was filmed on location in Phoenix, Arizona, and was the 26th highest grossing box office film in 1995. It won several NAACP Image Awards, and its soundtrack, produced by Babyface, won many awards as well as a Grammy nomination. Y'all know how this works. But we're not going to go that way this time because I don't have no preconceived notions of the movie because I watched it first. I will be rating this on two separate scales. The first is how does it do as an adaptation of the source material, and the second is how does it do as its own story. The reason I'm doing it like this is because sometimes an adaptation of a work can be straight up trash, but can be amazing in its own right as a story. Also, realistically, there will be things cut from an adaptation for any reason, so I look at how well did the film do at working around what was cut. And I also look at what was added because sometimes things that were added bring fresh and new flavor to a story, or offer additional insights, and sometimes even improves on the events of the book. Therefore, I'm looking at how well was the adaptation done, how enjoyable is the work in its own right, and what was added to enhance the story. As an adaptation of this book, I gave Waiting to Exhale the movie a 3.5 because it literally seemed like they took the beginning and the end and made a movie and then cut out all the middle. And was like, we gonna take away most of their lives outside of their romances, and we just gonna focus on their romances. And I was like, okay. But as a movie, I gave it a 5 because it's Waiting to Exhale. This is a 5-star movie out of 5.
As a movie, I give it a 5. As an adaptation, I ain't gonna, because I was gonna still give it a 5 until you broke it down. But I ain't gonna lie. I think Terry did this really well. I think Terry did this really, especially considering the budgets that we get for our type of movies. She did this well. Even though the characters do not look like who they're supposed to look and are not accurate in that way, they all, to me, all of them embody those characters. Like, she couldn't have picked more better people. The color might have been off, but the people she had right. I will say, I've never been that type of person to where the movie has to match the exact book. So that's another thing. Because I get what you're saying with adaptation. But I also do think it's only so much you can put in the film. Like, we had 400 and something pages to really learn about who they were. Versus movies now, like back then, were movies even 2 hours back then? I don't know how long this movie is, but
this movie is like a little over 2 hours.
Okay, so it's a little over 2 hours. So they had they actually did have a little something to work with.
Usually a movie's gonna be about an hour 30 minutes.
Usually a movie is gonna be an hour and 30 minutes. And then for each page, that's a minute.
Yeah.
We got 400 some pages. We have 400 something pages that's not written into an actual script. If you because you guys, if you never seen what a script looked like, but script writing and book writing are two different things.
Yeah.
So in reality, we probably have more like 600 pages of a script than 400 pages of a script. So to fit all of that into the movie, I think she did a good job at capturing the essence of the ladies, capturing their stories, and still, even though it was romance based, I still think she did a good job at showing their like sisterhood. And the PR for Robin was really good because the book the PR for Robin was great. Yeah.
I feel like
and I'm not gonna lie, I like the differences too. For me, I really do enjoy the differences.
Yeah, I love some of the differences.
It just gives you don't feel like you're when you read the book and you watch the movie, you don't feel like you're reading the same. I know some people love that, like you love everything to be the same, but I like the idea that like, because I could just read the book. I could read the book or watch the movie. What's the point of me doing both if it's gonna be exactly the same? I have a very vivid imagination, and books, they don't have a budget. So like I could imagine anything in my head. I ain't have to do both. And I said all that to still not give it a rating as adaptation. I was just like, I feel like it's hard for me to rate it as adaptation. Everything is a 5, 10, 10, 10s across the board.
Let me just say this. It's exactly how Tati described it. The movie is like the kid-friendly story of the family background, and the book is like, okay, now you old enough. Here's the real story.
She did this good.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, she did this good.
Look, I want to start off by saying this. I know everybody loves the Waiting to Exhale soundtrack.
Yes.
I want the actual background music they used in the movie. Like the actual like score.
Yes.
Especially that scene,
Yes.
especially the music that they used in the scene. I was your white woman for 11 years. I want that song.
And people underestimate. I feel like scores get the like some of the least appreciation when they bring so much to a scene. They can turn a whole scene around just from the scoring.
Mm-hmm. And can we talk about this cast? Because I was watching Oprah's interview with the 4 main ladies, and you mean to tell me that Loretta Devine was considered a lesser star, and that's why she was cast? The original Dream Girl.
Being underestimated came as a blessing.
The cast was perfect. They may not have looked like. I feel like if Waiting to Exhale had been written today and casted today, it would have caused uproar.
Oh, of course.
It would have caused uproar because nobody looks how they're supposed to look.
Except Robin. Except Robin. But I think that, you know what I think would have happened though? Honestly, I think the same thing that happened with Tina Turner and Selena would have happened with Waiting to Exhale. Because people were in the uproar about about Angela Bassett and Tina Turner not looking alike, or J-Lo being a proud Puerto Rican or whatever she is, and Selena being a proud Mexican. Like that whole thing happened. But when the movie came out and you saw the movie, you forgot about, baby, you couldn't tell. It's a whole generation of kids. You couldn't tell. I'd be seeing Tina Turner, and that's the thing when you're a good actress. And I ain't gonna take too much on it, but that's what happens when you're an actress. Because there's times I see Tina Turner and I'm like, Angela did her thing. When you see Tina Turner perform, you be like, and Tina Turner is not no slight. Tina Turner is a big influence in that work ethic, them legs, the dancing, the theatrics, the rock star element as an older woman. So to pull that off, I know this is not about her, but to pull that off, I think it would have been the same thing. And I love how Terry was like all of us. Terry loved her some Angela. She loved her some Angela.
It was to the point that Whitney Houston was like, if Angela's not doing it, I'm not doing it. Angela was the draw.
And Angela was like, oh my God.
She was the draw. God. She was the appeal. She was the star. Do you know how talented you have to be the star over Whitney Houston? Well, not even, I'm not gonna say over, alongside Whitney Houston, but you are like one of the most memorable.
I will say something that's controversial, but she was the star of the movie. She was the star of the movie. And people feel like that's controversial. And I think that is a big thing, especially when the character fits. Whitney played Savannah to a T. Okay? She did her thing with Savannah, but no, ma'am. No, I don't care what nobody says. Everybody in there can act, but nobody left an impression like Angela. Nobody left. And reading the book and knowing what she had to do, that's one of the most, like, nobody had that intensity that she had to do, and to pull from where she pulled, and to pull it off how she pulled it off, baby.
And
Let
it
me
was
tell you something.
improvised. And it was improvised.
Because we do our what? Research. Because we're
Research.
serious about our what? Our craft.
But y'all want me to believe she ain't win an Oscar.
Angela needs to be respected. And I feel like Viola Davis said, Angela Bassett, I told you that too. Angela Bassett is a Meryl Streep. Angela Bassett has variety, okay? And can act and does the research. When I tell you, if you look at the characters that she plays, you read the books, or you see the people, and you see her movies, you see that she does her due diligence as an actual artist. And you see not only that, but I love how she mentors. And that's one thing I love about us, about how she mentors, and how I feel like you could see how other people grow after working with her or being around her. You know what I'm saying? To where what we were talking about Kiki Palmer, about being so great that other people see that greatness and want to be around that. She is up there. She has done it all. Listen, they ate with this cast. They ate with this cast. I'm gonna stop saying it because y'all know how I feel about it, but I really do. I really feel like this is a really good case study, because it's not very often that your movie and your book can be that lovable.
And on top of that, Terry got to do something that a lot of authors usually don't get to do. She got to write the movie herself. And it was her script that they filmed.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's a little Hollywood knowledge for y'all. Usually somebody will write the script, but that person's script might not get used, or they could write the script and they not get credit and somebody else get credit. But usually scripts are usually like a composite of a whole bunch of people writing it, but only one person can get credit because of union rules. And so for Terry technically it was Terry and one other person, but most of the credit goes to Terry. For her to be able to write the movie and it be her script that they use and get the credit for it, yeah, we gonna give her credit.
A new level of respect I have for Terry in her writing.
So yeah, I have my list of changes here. Let's get into it. And y'all know I got to give my little warning. Some of these changes are going to be nitpicky, and I know they're going to be nitpicky, but it's only because I noticed them. That doesn't mean I didn't like them. I just noticed them. The first change is that they went ahead and had the whole thing take place in Phoenix. So Savannah and Denver, that is all just moved to Phoenix. And the party was really cut down, but I didn't mind.
I especially didn't mind because I feel like I got a lot of Lionel. That's that boy name. I feel like I got a lot of him in Troy. So I didn't really need. I feel like that was a good amount to cut off, because the whole big part of Lionel is the driving from Denver to Phoenix. So he wasn't needed for that. And yeah, he gave Troy vibes anyways. I think they just made Troy a little bit more rah-rah to level it out.
The next change is the one I was most mad about. Is Michael. Period. Michael was such a cool guy in the book, and y'all went and turned him into a trash guy. Why did Michael have to become a oh, this woman told me her dreams. She told me what she wanted. Now I'm gonna get in this meeting at our job and embarrass her.
Robin PR. That was complete. That was your auntie telling her side of the story. It was good PR for Robin. Yo.
We didn't have to do that to him.
You know, when you doing PR, when you spinning the story, somebody got to be the villain.
I'm like, we didn't have to do that to him, especially because later on in the movie, when Robin sees him at the club, it doesn't make sense for her to be mad. Because she's like, this the last time you're going to be with me since you want to embarrass me in public. So why are you mad that he shows up with another woman now? I'm mad.
Only so much of the story. Let me stop playing.
I'm mad. I was not happy. I was not happy with the Michael slander. I want justice. And so, of course, the next cut is something I was also
Hmm.
kind of disappointed with, which was they completely cut the Black women on the move storyline. I was upset about that because y'all took away what lies they had outside of their romance. All of their personal storylines got cut.
I think that's more depressing than because women on the move, it led to nothing. It led that's why they had to cut it. Because it was a good part of the story, but it didn't lead to it didn't for especially for the movie plot, it just didn't lead to anything. And we gotta cut this plot down. But for the other parts, I will say that, and I feel like that's why one they kept Savannah's mama in there. But I feel like that's also like Gloria and Tyreek they got their little thing. I feel like they felt like Bernie's parents weren't important to the storyline because it wasn't like she was going over their house. It was just stuff because the kids, and I feel like that's why too, the kids weren't as important to the story as Bernie was just doing her thing. I feel like they thought that was enough. And
Oh,
then
the
with
kids.
Robin, I feel like that's why we got the whole little backstory of keeping her child.
Robin got
I
a
think that was
whole
to give her more depth. Didn't know anything about her.
Robin got a whole new backstory in the movie that I was not mad at.
She did.
I liked her movie backstory.
She
It brought a lot of character to her character, and it helped explain her desire to have a baby, her desire for a baby so much. But I feel like taking away her parents really hurts her reasoning for wanting to have a man, because her wanting to have a man, I feel like really did have a lot to do with wanting to make sure she had a stable life and make sure her parents had a stable life.
you know what I feel like right now in this very moment? I feel like this is writer versus producer. I feel like this is writer versus because my mind is like, no, that is not needed. It is no excuse why a woman needs to want to have a man. In this society, it's just normal for a woman to want to have a man. She don't really need the whole backstory to show why she want to have a man. That's just and it's like it's producer and writer because the writer, no, it is important. There's certain nuances that we are missing. My little producer brain, and you know what? That
See,
wouldn't
now you see,
they'll get it. They'll get
this is
it.
how you know we are going to work well together when we make a movie. This is how you know. And so, one change that I noticed that kind of was like, why is Tariq and his whole gang, they're cut, but him being grounded is kept. And I'm like, why is Tariq grounded in the movie if y'all cut the gang?
You know what? I think you're right because I don't know why he was grounded.
Another change is that Bernie, when she meets James in the movie, it's sad, whereas in the book, she's celebrating her divorce. But in the movie, she just got out of the divorce proceedings and got bad news, so it's sad. Honestly, Bernie's whole storyline with James is probably the only change that I'm not upset about.
I like the change with Bernie, but I will debate that when she met James, it was still sad. She was happy when she got courts, but she didn't even want him to talk to her. Because like remember when she went to the dinner, she felt silly when she went to the dinner, so that's why she ended up in the hotel. And then she was like, "Please don't hold no conversation with me. Please do not hold no conversation with me. Please do." And he was like, "Hey girl, how you doing?" But I think that's one change. I'm not gonna lie. That's one of the biggest. That's one thing I was like, yep, yeah. We. I didn't need to know this about my auntie. I want that part because I think it was so much like, but it was the chemistry and like the tenderness of the story. It gave it a softness. It gave the feeling that you can have intimate moments and heal and even enjoy or like somebody without it having to be sexual. Like when they just lay in bed together and they decide not to go any further, especially because he has some integrity. He like, I'm not gonna cheat. It and it sets me up, it sets it up to where they have a level of trust, right? Because if they do, let's say when they came back for the second movie, and if they were together, it sets up a level of trust to where she could really trust him because he didn't do no foul stuff before they
Mhm.
got together.
I feel like another reason they changed Bernie and James' whole storyline, because in the movie, it's like they don't have like that whole what's going on in the book. And their thing is more innocent. I feel like why they changed that is also because I think wasn't the consciousness movement like in full effect at that time?
Oh yeah.
And so if you trying to like argue that there are no strong portrayals of the black family in media and you want strong portrayals, of course, the media, especially the visual medium, is going to want to try and portray a stronger black family. So of course they're not going to portray a woman who is going from man to man to man, and then the man that she fell for was a man that they met as an affair, and then he left his wife to get with her, and then they got to get. Of course they're gonna clean it up. That makes sense.
I mean, it makes sense, but I also prefer it. It was a good choice, whether it made sense or not.
And so of course, because of that change, Bernie and James, they don't end up together in the movie. He stays with his wife, who does not die in the movie.
And I think it also restores her faith a little bit, though. Like, all men are not gonna leave.
So the two biggest out of the main four, the two that had like the most changes done in them was Robin and Gloria. Gloria,
Yes, sir.
Gloria
Yes.
needed a complete overhaul in the movie because, especially with Marvin, because
They did her dirty.
Marvin showed up in the last 100 pages of the book. In the movie, Marvin shows up like right away. When I first saw the movie before reading the book, I sat there and I wondered, why does Marvin have such little role in the movie? I go read this. His role in the book is even less. I'm like, oh, so movie Marvin is
Yes,
the one who got more time because book Marvin wasn't there.
it was not there. And I love who they got to play him because his essence, I think also brought a lot of confirmation to the story and made it even less of like a pity type of thing. Because he, first of all, he wanted her to be confident, all that type of stuff. But it's also like he carried he carried the essence of like, I'm this type of man and I want to be with you. So you are this so it's like you are this type of woman. I'm not like here and trying to get with you. I'm here and trying to get with you. So it's not like a pity case or, oh, she can't get nobody better. It's like, no, you got your man who know how who know how to his way around the house, know how to talk to people. And I feel like movie Marvin and book Marvin, love both of them kinda, but I feel like movie Marvin kind of even gives me a little bit of book Michael, because I feel like book Michael is a lot smoother. He a lot smoother than movie Michael. And I feel like that's how it was for him. I loved him from Gloria.
I think what I really liked about Gloria and Marvin in the movie is that their relationship was more developed. It makes sense when they finally get together at the end because we've had time to see them getting to know each other, and he plays a more active role in Gloria and Tariq's lives. So it makes sense when at the end he's like, "Oh, I want to be a part of Tariq's life." It makes sense because we've seen him interact with Tariq. We've seen Tariq respond positively to him. It makes sense. Whereas in the book, he wasn't there.
Dang, Tariq, you want a daddy that bad? Okay.
They're gonna show up at the end. Oh yeah, I'm this boy daddy. Where was the relationship? Where was the building? Now, like we said earlier, Robin's backstory got changed, and I like that they changed her backstory because it was Robin who talked some sense into Savannah. They made Robin smarter in the movie.
The Robin PR team was working hard in that movie. They was working hard. Child. They was.
So the book they bring up that Robin got dark skin, and I was looking at my book. I was like, okay, Robin, dark skin, movie Robin, light skin. Where was the disconnect?
I think the disconnect was when she said Robin looked like Robin. I think that's what she got the disconnect from. I think she said, I'm gonna give Robin with a twist. I think that's what she disconnected it.
If these descriptions in the book are what we're supposed to go off of, Terry wanted Robin Givens to play Robin.
And it's very interesting because Miss Ma'am still fits the part. Because her and Robin could be fraternal twins. They could be sisters. I mean, girl, she ate up the role. I'm not even gonna lie. She ate the role up.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm very happy with the
They don't
Robin
make
we
it no
got.
better.
I'm very happy with the Robin we got. She did amazing.
Because even though everything didn't line up exactly, she got enough right.
They're like, we gonna rewrite her whole character. We gonna cast somebody pretty. And
And she
mhm.
gave in the lighter moments, but even the intense moments, like when she had to reveal her not keeping the baby, or even in the moments where she was hurt, like she really, when she was mad, like she wasn't like a, everybody in this, listen, Angela did act down because her role, she did that. But everybody in this movie, you had to though. I feel like with the cast in this movie, it was no way that you couldn't, because you had Whitney Houston, you had the Angela Bassett, so you knew you had to come with something. You have Whitney Houston, who is the embodiment of Savannah. So she working, but she doing it with ease. Well, making it look like it's easy.
The original Dream Girl,
Loretta Devine
Loretta
has been on
Devine.
Broadway. You have her, who is hungry, who is new on the scene, who knows she has to compete, because her lesser known star is a whole Broadway star. Like
Okay,
the lesser known star that she's neck and neck with is a whole Broadway star.
and let's talk about who she was up against for that role. Robin Givens, who obviously Terry wanted for the role, and Halle Berry. She was the least famous out of them
She
three, and
had
that
to
worked.
act,
And it worked in her favor because they said, "Oh, we got Angela and Whitney. We
and
need
she had
lesser stars for the other two to round it out." And so we get Loretta, who I'm still stuck on being a lesser star, and then we got Leela.
and they did that thing. I'm sure Forrest's direction also, like Terry was like, I'm not playing no games.
Hmm.
Only quality is gonna touch this.
Hmm. Charles got cut. I don't even want to talk about Charles. Savannah's promotion got cut, but then again, I feel like that's just because they cut everybody having lives outside of romance. And Gloria's heart attack got cut, which I was not mad at. I'm glad Gloria got a happier ending than having a heart attack and then having everybody come to the hospital. Girl, we love you.
It wouldn't have made sense for her to have a heart attack because a lot of the stress wasn't there. The stress from her salon wasn't there. Tarika's stressing how, but the stress from the salon, and also her weight wasn't as big of a thing. It was very much, which that's my favorite thing. That's one of my favorite things about Gloria's storyline, is that her weight was a self insecurity, and it wasn't added on by all the extra people piling on around her. To make these decisions as good as she did, like they had to be particular about what they cut and make it make sense. And the fact that I ain't gonna lie, this was done very well.
Hmm.
This was done very well. And I think it's because I really think it's because Terry had her hand in it. And I feel like that's something that we need to, especially when you see a lot of franchises, I feel like that pop off that people love, a lot of times the writer is very integral part of the whole process, because it's their dream, it's their baby. They know what the especially by the time they didn't wrote 5 6 7 books, they know what the fans want, they know what they want it to look like, they know the characters inside and out.
And my final notes was this man right here, Michael Basin. He tried to pull that 1 year later mess, that waiting to exhale the movie pool. Talking about some 1 year later, we gonna do the same exact scene all over again. But where waiting to exhale succeeded as opposed to where he failed, waiting to exhale's 1 year later makes sense because the characters have grown. They've grown. We've gotten to know them. They've had experiences that have changed them. What growth? What experiences? What change? That man went down there and embarrassed that lady on national radio. Talking about some I've changed. Where? Where's the change? Where's the growth? I don't see none.
You were
I,
lonely at the beginning and you're lonely now.
I still want my waiting to exhale for me. Because this wasn't it.
So I think the movie's very good. It tells a clear story, and the actors and actresses, they played their parts very well. However, one critique I do have is that I think they should have focused on Gloria more in the aspect of her health struggles. Like in the movie, they just put her as a businesswoman, a single mom, focusing on Tyreek and then meeting Marvin. But in the book, like they really highlighted her health struggles, her heart attack, And you know, they should have put that in the movie because that's real life. Like people go through that. Don't just highlight, oh, lovey-dovey business. You know, like put it all in there. So that's my opinion.
They probably didn't put it in the movie because they want her to have a more happy ending.
Yeah, but
because her ending in the book, it finishes with her in the hospital.
Yeah. It's just perspectives. I think everybody did a great job. Whitney Houston did a great job. Angela Bassett always does a good job. Layla Rashawn did a good job. Loretta Devine always does a good job. Even the men did a good job. Waiting to Exhale is one of my top 5 movies, aside from Kill Bill and all that jazz.
And what was your favorite part of the movie?
Everybody's favorite part.
Yeah, I was your white woman for 11 years.
I was your white woman for 11 I was your white woman for 11 years. That is one of the most memorable parts. And it has to be between that and then them either. And I want to say when they were in Gloria's house, but no, it's when they're in the car. You know, when they're in the car, they're at the end, they all happy. And then Whitney Houston starts singing, and everybody's like, like, they're all like, girl, go ahead and sing it. I love that because it's just Black women being happy and being friends. I love it. I love it. That's another thing I love about this story is like, I know a lot of it revolves around their love lives, but also their friendship is the basis of the story. Like their friendship is really like what gets them through everything, which is, I love that part. But yeah.
So my favorite part of the movie was the soundtrack. It is so good. Like, it's in my Spotify playlist and everything. The soundtrack, the locations, everything was just so aesthetic. Especially the part where Whitney Houston was driving to Phoenix and that, I love that scene. That was my favorite part.
Which did you like better, the book or the movie?
I'm not gonna lie, that's a hard one. That is a hard one because I really want to say the movie because I was able to see everything. So a part of me, the visual part of me really wants to be like the movie. Like, because I got to see the characters be when. Do you know that movie got a 5.1 rating on like what is it, IMB or something like that?
I saw, and I was like, why? Why is it so low?
Because it's a Black movie. It's a Black movie. That's the only reason why that movie is so well written. Listen, Terry wrote her behind off, and every character embodied. Everybody played that character to a T. I dare you to tell me different. I dare you to read this book and tell me that everybody in Terry said, I'm only putting the baddest on the floor. Okay. Terry said, I'm only putting the baddest on the floor. When I tell you, this is where we get to this. And why we brought the 5.1, the disrespect. And this is why I purposely tell people Black romance. This is why I say I love Black romance. That's why when you go on my page and you see the top 10 Christmas movies or the top 10 romance movies for I say Black movies specifically. That's why I'm giving Terry her flowers. And I'm not putting Black on it because Terry needs her flowers. This is a blueprint, period. Any author needs to dream of what she did with this. But we need that respect. This woman is classic, needs to be respected. And I get tired of it being, which all of us get tired of it being this a Black thing. But one thing I am grateful and thankful for is we're gonna put on for each other. Mm-hmm. And we're gonna support each other. And it's gonna go triple, quadruple platinum in these Black households.
Yeah.
Which is one thing that is great, because at least we accept it by our own. She needs to do a master class. She needs to do a master class because this is the goal. Like, to be able to have not only a movie that stands the test of time, that has actual artists that care about the craft and the work, and also to have a book that stands up to that. Like, I love this book to where I could really be like, to where I can't really necessarily say the book is better than the movie or the movie is better than the book. You know, it's hard for a movie to beat out a book.
Mhm.
It's very hard to do a movie so good that it beats out the book. And it's even hard to have people be like, no, I love the movie and the book. She did that. But I would say
Okay.
the movie just because you got to see her. I feel like you got to see the vision manifest. Because they ate. Every actor on there ate. And Forrest Whitaker. You know Forrest Whitaker? You know Forrest Whitaker directed it? Yes, you know Forrest Whitaker directed it.
I like the book, surprisingly. The book goes more in depth than the movie does, so it just gives you a clearer vision and picture of, what the author was trying to say. And it caught my attention because, like I said, I'm not a big fan of reading. So if a book can grab me like that, awesome.
I really loved Waiting to Exhale. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the book. I enjoyed the movie. It was amazing. It was great. I had so much fun with this experience. I did not think we was gonna have fun with this experience. I thought we was gonna be struggling, but no.
I was like, Ronald, waiting to exhale. Yeah, I did not expect this. And then when I started reading it, I'm like, wait a minute. This is a case study. We need to put this in our back pocket for research purposes. Because Miss Ma'am did it well. Did it very well. And I love how you do the movies. I loved how you do the movie in the book, especially in this instance, because you could really compare the two and you really see what hits the mark, what doesn't hit the mark. Like stuff like that. I really like this idea. I like this idea. I like how it worked out to be able to. I don't know if it's because I just like Waiting to Exhale like that, but I do.
Still to come on Read with Ronald. So now we have reached that portion in the video where we talk about brother and sister.
If you're titling the book about that character, let that character tell the story.
And y'all don't understand how disrespectful this is to this woman. If you understood how much work that she put in.
See, putting on for each other is how we got this. It's how we got this disappointment.